faster internet speeds for free when you get TV, internet, and phone. Ask for Trio from Rev.
Join the revolution.
Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, the results from the constitutional referendum are in. But first,
the Vote No pastors say the fight is not over. That story straight ahead on our news.
The Deputy Prime Minister weighs in on the results of the constitutional referendum. That story straight ahead.
Teachers across the country go to the polls for union elections. Welcome to our news. I'm Christina McNeil. Thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight, Tuesday's overwhelming defeat of the gender equality referendum was a victory against the relentless onslaught of a homosexual agenda that is being forced on the Bahamas by the international community. That's according to a group of pastors who spent the last few weeks advocating against Bill 4. Jasmine Brown has their candid comments in this report.
The Vote No pastors say this week they've won the battle, but they insist that the war against the global homosexual agenda continues. Pastor Mario Moxie of Bahamas Harvest Church says it's vital that they keep their guard up, especially considering what's currently happening in other countries, like the legalization of same-sex marriage in the United States.
The homosexual agenda, first of all, are relentless. And so part of their argument is if you give them an inch, they want to become a ruler. And it's important for us to make sure we define those boundaries on an ongoing basis.
Since its launch, those pastors behind Save Our Bahamas have continued to campaign against Bill 4, which would have made it unconstitutional to discriminate based on sex. The religious leaders believe it could have opened the door to same-sex marriage. Pastor of Grace Community Church Lyle Bathel says he suspects this is just the beginning of an onslaught of LGBT issues. But he says they are prepared to fight back.
We want to say to other Caribbean nations and around the world, this is an agenda that's not going to go away quietly. Pastor Mario is correct. They are relentless, and the Caribbean nations must decide where they're going to have their bread buttered. We're not prepared to say we're going to throw Christianity out to accommodate select groupings of individuals who feel that their rights are being trampled, when the truth of the matter is they have the same rights we all have.
As for widespread criticism of those who voted no, Pastor Alfred Stewart of New Mount Zion Missionary Church says they are willing to forgive being called stupid.
We forgive the uncomplimentary comments that have been circulating on social media about those who voted no in the referendum. And we pray that, their eyes would be open to the truth concerning these matters.
While they decline to say what's next on their agenda, the pastors insist this is not the end of Save Our Bahamas. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thanks, Jasmine. Meanwhile, pastors on Grand Bahama agree that while the referendum may be over, their voices will still be heard. Pastors Eddie Victor and Greg Bullard say the church roared like a lion on referendum day.
Our role has been, we acted as watchmen, not political, but we were watchmen, according to Ezekiel 33. We see a danger, and we began to proclaim this danger, and that's our responsibility.
I understand that some say that there is still provision or a loophole in Article 15 for some to say that they are being discriminated against. Then there's the argument that in Article 26, that is between a man and a woman, that marriage ought to take place, and hence Bill number 4 would never have gone down that road of same-sex marriage. However, we just simply could not take the chance with lawyers making tons of money on the backs of a yes vote on Bill number 4.
Well, in the wake of opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis claiming the referendum results speak to a rejection of the Christie administration, Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis says the rejection is a message to both parties. Dana Smith reports.
The Deputy Prime Minister said he doesn't believe the no vote was a message specifically to the Christie administration, but rather reflective of the cynicism the voting public feels about politicians in general. Minnis said yesterday the results of the referendum are not merely a rejection of the 4 bills, but also a rejection of this PLP government, Constitutional Commission Chairman Sean McQueenie also noted people tend to use referenda as a vehicle to send messages between elections to the political directorate, and he's sure this referendum was no exception. But Davis said he believes that rejection isn't aimed solely at the PLP, noting the referendum was a bipartisan issue.
I think there is just a cynicism that's existing in our country now about politicians, period, because I still posited this approach to sole referendum on the fact that it was a bipartisan effort. And I think what the Bahamian people saw was that the establishment perhaps was behind this bipartisan effort. And I think it's just whole cynicism about us all politicians today in this atmosphere.
It has been questioned whether the results mirror what some have said is the disappointment and apathy some feel about the performance of this administration. But Davis said although there are a myriad of reasons as to why voters said no, it's a caution to both the PLP and the FNM as to the current climate in the country.
I think it's a message to both parties, not just to the current administration. Because, as I said, this is not this administration's effort. This was a joint effort between the opposition and the government.
Now, although the bills received bipartisan support, Minnis did not advocate for a yes vote outside of Parliament. Instead, he advised voters to vote their conscience and was critical of the Christie administration's efforts to secure a yes vote. Prime Minister Perry Christie branded Minnis hypocritical. Davis agreed, saying of Minnis's actions,
I don't think it was right.
Davis also suggested this whole thing was Minnis's idea. He said in framing the referendum, Christie was led by Minnis, as Christie wanted bipartisan support on the issue, and everyone agreed what their position would be on it. Reporting for Our News, I'm Dana Smith.
Thanks, Dana. And days after the constitutional referendum, the results are in. Our News and the Nassau Guardian have the numbers to confirm that overwhelming no vote to all 4 bills. For Bill number 1, the Parliamentary Registration Department recorded 32,249 yes votes. That figure was beat by 51,022 no votes. On Bill number 2, we have 24,148 yes votes. Also on Bill number 2, there were 59,714 no votes. On Bill number 3, there were 28,341 yes votes compared to 58,891 no votes. Finally, on Bill number 4, the most controversial of all the bills, there were 17,921 yes votes. That was blown away by 65,696 no votes. You can read more about the results in tomorrow's Nassau Guardian. Still to come, teachers across the country go to the polls.
Stakeholders meet to discuss the implementation of NHI. That and more tonight on Our News.
Stay with us.